One group in Duluth is celebrating 50 years of helping and protecting victims of sexual assault in the Twin Ports.
A program for aid to victims of sexual assault, better known as PAVSA, works to eliminate sexual violence. The group has served more than 900 victims and survivors ages 13 and up. A part of its mission is to support survivors, educate the community, and advocate for change. And it says community partnerships like Svelja Whole Being Yoga Studio are essential to its success.
I have witnessed the transformation of people as they're moving through their stages of healing, and the way that not only are survivors coming in to be healed, to feel safe in their bodies, to reconnect to their own, to reconnect to their bodies, but also the way that they offer healing to others.
The Svelja Whole Being hosts trauma-conscious yoga sessions weekly for domestic violence survivors. It's a private session that helps them heal and reconnect with their bodies, their emotions, and spirit through what they call choice or at-your-own-pace yoga.
It creates a space for survivors to come together, share in a co-creation healing journey without even having to speak a word of their story.
PAVSA holds its 50th annual autumn fundraising event tomorrow night at Clyde Ironworks. Money raised will help keep services available for victims and survivors like the Yoga Partnership, and to expand services to reach more people in need. We have a link to find tickets at northernnewsnow.com. Our Laura Lee is going to be the event's MC.